Hey, my name is Sarah Duke, and I want to talk to you about some of those dead ends that you get when you are recruiting someone and what you can do to help overcome those dead ends. So, method number one is the three objections method. I try to really dig in and find out why she is still hesitant on joining the business. A lot of times this comes after you've had some discussions with her. You can tell she's interested, you can tell she loves the product, but she's still not just jumping on board yet. So I just ask her, what do you think your biggest hesitation is in joining Usborne Books and More? And make her name at least two. So let's say that she says time is her biggest hesitation. Then you said, oh, okay, I totally understand that. I'm super busy as well, but I have some great tips for helping you with that. I can show you how to do that. That's not going to be a big deal. What else? And just keep digging and help her help her name at least one other objection, and you'll find that usually the second or third objection is actually the biggest. And once you can conquer that, then the other two objections aren't really that big of a deal anymore. So, for example, she might say, it's another objection is my husband is just not very supportive. So then you find out, like, oh, okay, that's the real reason she's hesitant about that. So once you can talk to her about her husband and you can say, okay, go and talk to your husband about this, take a pen and paper and write down every single objection that he has and every single question that he has, then come back to me and I'll answer those questions for him. Or set up like a Zoom call with that husband. Once you can tackle that, then the other two objections are not going to be as big of a deal to her. The next method is the goal question. Remember that you are a consultant. You are not just a salesperson. You are a consultant. That's not just consulting people to find the right books. You are consulting her to get to the place that she needs to be to become a recruit. If you act like a salesperson, you are going to hit dead end after dead end after dead end. And you might be underselling or overselling your business. So after you've discussed some of the business with her, you just say something like, so after getting a better idea about the business, if you were to get started in a job like this on a part-time basis, about how much time or how much would you need to make per month to make it worth your time? And then they throw out a number. Let's say they throw out $2,000 a month. Say, okay, great. Well, how many hours per week do you think you could dedicate to building this business in order to be able to make $2,000 a month? And they'll give you a number as well. Now, at this point, this is when you become a consultant. They might throw out an hours per week that is totally unrealistic for making $2,000 a month. They might say they only have 1 hour a week. At that point, you might have to discuss with her, like, okay, that might not be enough time, but if we could get you up to, 4 hours a week, then we might could get you making $1,500 a month or $1,000 a month. Or you just try to paint that picture for her to meet her goals, because you might be telling her like, oh, you can make $10,000 a month at this, when that's not even what she wants. She might only want $500 a month. Don't oversell your business. Meet her at what she needs. Next, you can ask her about how many months would you be willing to work that 8 hours a week in order to develop your $2,000 monthly income. This just kind of gives her a time frame to know that she might not be making that immediately, but you can let her know when she will be able to make that. A lot of times I don't even get to this third question because I've already accomplished what I need to accomplish in the first two questions. So I just want to show you an example. Right here was a completely cold message that I sent to a friend. This was not necessarily even someone I knew that well, but I just knew that she would be really good at this. So I talked to her a little bit about a party she had had and the fact that I had really been thinking about her since that party, and I was sorry I hadn't reached out to her already. So at the end here, I just asked her, have you ever considered doing a side job to make some extra cash? Is there a certain amount of money per month that it would take to be worth your time to do something like this? And she said, yes, I'd actually love some extra cash, but I'm not a very good candidate. I'm not pushy, but if you could tell me how an easy way to do this and still make money doing it, I might consider. So I figured, okay, the door is open. Let's see what we can do with this. I said, I totally understand. I have another job too. I'm really busy as well. But here's the question right here. How much per month do you think it would take to make it worth your time? Let's see if it's even a realistic goal that we can reach. And she said, I honestly have no idea what to even expect. I mean, I'm not even sure what per month. I could probably only do 2 hours a week. This was awesome. So I had to ask her both questions, but that's fine. I got her answer right here. I got what she thinks she can devote to this business. So I said, okay, great. That gives me an idea. You might have to devote a little more than that at first. And just because the first party is always the hardest, doing 2 hours a week, I could get you to making about $300 extra a month. Then I went on to kind of tell her what we did have in this business. We have some girls that are working it very, very part-time, and some of them are working it very full-time. And so I gave her this range here. I said, we have some girls who are working making $200 a month and some $30,000 a month. So it can really fit into anyone's schedules. And then she said, let me think about it. I'll put pen to paper and see what kind of time I can give. So I've already got her thinking maybe a little more than this 2 hours a week. So I told her that sounded great, and I even explained that, I had to cut out some things when I first joined to make this work for me, but it's totally worth it. And then I actually moved on. I started asking her about her work, about what she had done, how her family is doing, and then after talking with her for a day or so, just about different things back and forth, she said, okay, so maybe we can meet up one day to seriously talk about the books. And I said yes, and we scheduled a lunch date. So, as you can see, those questions got me in the door talking with her about what this business could do for her. And then I just kept asking questions and we kept having a discussion. I wasn't too pushy. I kind of let it go and she came back to it. So, this is a great example of getting your foot in the door and making yourself meet her where she needs it. All right, and then method number 3 for objections is third-party validation. Third-party validation means you get a third person. Your upline is usually the best person for this. You're a third-party person to come in and discuss the business with a potential recruit. This can be through a Zoom call, through a coffee date, through a brunch date, whatever you need to get that third person involved. This builds company credibility. It leverages the knowledge, skills, ability, and personal success stories from others. It's actually kind of the secret to overcoming the fact that your friends and family sometimes don't give you the credit you deserve. We've all encountered that you feel like you've accomplished something big in your company and your personal best friends and family aren't giving you the credit for that. So this is a way to do it. You've talked with this person. Again, this is one of those when you kind of come to a dead end and you say, okay, what I'm going to do is send you the link for more information on our business, or some people send an email, whatever you want to do. And I'm sure you'll have more questions. So let's set up a super quick video call and I will invite my upline, Katie. She's been at the business longer and is super knowledgeable, so she can tell you even more possibilities about this business. It'll give you an idea of what kind of training you will have at your fingertips. I have an opening Tuesday at 1:30 and Wednesday at 8:30. Which one works best for you? And of course, it goes without saying, make sure you have checked that time with your upline. And it's best to get this scheduled within 48 hours. Also send your upline basic information about the recruit, like where she lives, current employment, kids information, if she's attended a party, if she's hosted a party, whatever you think she needs. And then have the recruiting sponsor begin the call, do a super quick introduction, and then switch it over to your upline. Turn it over to that person who has a little more authority in their eyes to go on with the call. So for example, and then the upline will kind of take over and say, hey Susie, Whitney told me a little bit about you, but I would love to hear more. How did you first hear about UBAM? Then ask her what attracts her about UVM. Just kind of break the ice here and then go into some sort of presentation. So I personally like to do a Zoom presentation. So here's the link to my Zoom presentation. I can also put it in the comments here of what I like to show people, a little bit about myself, and then a step-by-step guide about the company, like our commissions, our rewards, YOS rewards, things like that. And then after the presentation, if she's ready to join, do it right then. Never leave a call with, hey, we'll be in touch. Always leave a specific date that you are going to follow up with her. Don't leave it open-ended. And if set up a date to walk her through signing up. Of course, our sign up process is super simple and she already knows about the kits from the presentation. However, sometimes that kind of overwhelms people. So set a date and say, hey, I'll walk you through it. That way you know you can get her signed up. So I hope this has helped you with some objections that you commonly have with recruits, and I hope that this kind of gets your wheels spinning on what you can do to reach out to those people who you've mainly kind of come to a dead end with. Have a great day, and I hope this has helped.